And we're back. Welcome in. Watch the Walk-Ons podcast. Grant, G-Bone, Kevin Ward, the three amigos, all here to break down the Maryland game. Maybe give you some other fun stuff. Boys, how we doing tonight?
Doing good. Every day's a gift. Feeling good.
Every day's a gift. Same for you, Kev?
Every day is a gift. Well said. Preach.
I'll tell you what, it's a gift when Kevin Ward shows up in a tank top. Absolutely flexing on the haters today on the podcast. We love to see it. Grant, you want to, in the background, pull up that betting recap for the weekend quick? We'll start there. A lot of stuff happened in college football this past weekend. We're glad you're here with us, by the way, on the Washed Up Walk-Ons podcast. Season is winding down. Just one regular season game left for the Hawks. Bowl season, the new college football 12-team playoff. Lots going on. Conference races. Plenty to worry about. Tons of ranked teams dropping over the weekend. But we're going to do the Ward's Winners recap first on this show, brought to you by Green Tree Care.
My favorite. I love Green Tree Care.
Aren't they great, Grant?
I've always said that's one of the finer institutions, finer businesses we have in this country.
Yeah, that's what
I'm
I've
a firm believer in Green Tree Care for decades now, actually. Decades.
Right.
So,
third generation Hawk, Matt Roberts, founder of Green Tree Care in the Des Moines metro area. One of the fine gentlemen and businesses that reached out after the podcast the other day. We're like, hey, this could be you. You're missing out on this Ward's Winners sponsorship opportunity. And Matt, he jumped on the bandwagon. Matt, we appreciate it. Green Tree Care. I'm going to share the screen here quickly over Grant's screen share, because I want you guys to watch what taking down an ash tree looks like. Look at this. Call the number. Free estimates. They got the cherry picker out there. It's probably not even, it's a more sophisticated lift. And they just take that tree down. I mean, you need somebody to handle wood for you? Dude.
I mean, that's a very satisfying video to watch.
Oh, with the clouds in the background?
Yeah.
for the podcast listeners, you want to imagine like David carving the Michelangelo, but instead it's a tree and there's no statue. It's completely gone.
Truly one of a kind.
I've seen a few people from the in the OR who've come through because they tried to take down a tree by themselves, fell off the ladder. It's just bad news. Just call tree care.
The Green Tree Care. Call the professionals.
Yeah.
Professional arborist service, locally owned, founded by Matt Roberts in the Des Moines metro area. You can bring that your screen back up now, Grant. Rough weekend for your boy. I had Indiana plus 13. They got really dog walked. They almost brought it back towards the end. And then Ohio State at the very end said, no, fuck you. Iowa -6. I felt great about that. And we'll talk about that, obviously, as the main part of this show. JMU -7. They lose outright. Looked good early.
Yeah, tough one for JMU. I'm going to be honest.
And then it didn't. Grant had me really high on that. He's like, hey, you should feel decent about that one the other day.
I didn't know they were going to get assaulted by snowballs before the game even started. So
that's tough. And then Colorado -3. They lose outright. Kansas on the reverse sweep here, trying to make a bowl game. The Jayhawks decided to play football down the stretch. So your boy goes 1-3. That takes my total record to 26-23. I'm pretty sure that's not profitable anymore at this point. Might just be there.
52 was what I calculated.
Okay, so not doing well. Nonetheless, other two on the podcast. Grant, how'd we do on the weekend?
Yeah, I think we went 7-4, I believe, if I remember correctly. Overall, pretty good weekend. We did have Kansas easy, outside of that insanely dirty hit on Shedeur Sanders.
That was, I'm not more of a fan of Shedeur or Dion than anybody is really. I think Shedeur is a good player. That clip of him getting absolutely upended is one of the dirtier things I've seen. I think.
I try and give people the benefit of the doubt. Like, oh, it's an accident, playing out there's There's a lot going on. I can't even explain that one. It was like a mob hit almost. Like, hey, go take his kneecaps out or something.
Somebody paid
insane.
him, huh? You think the mafia got
I don't know what it looks like in Lawrence, Kansas, but hey, it could be around there. Arizona State, also crazy game versus BYU. 2 field stormings in that game was pretty cool. Army, just I have no shame in defending the troops, especially against Notre Dame. So I will back them every time, and I will not apologize for it, despite the result of the game. Auburn, probably the game of the weekend, honestly. Crazy 4 overtimes. Even though I felt like, are you guys a go for 2 crowd? If you get the ball back in the first, like if you get the ball second, you score a touchdown, you can go for 2, try and win the game, or kick the extra point.
100% dependent on the flow of the game.
I was gonna say it's really gonna matter on what things have looked like against what kind of play you're trying to run on that.
Do you feel like you have a good 2-point play?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of teams out there. Like the one that comes to mind is the Philly special. Like if you feel like you've got something spicy cooked up, I say go for it. But if you're just going to run one of your stock plays and you're just trying to win on a stock play, you're like, hey, let's just go beat these guys. Man, I don't know. You're putting a lot on that. You're in that situation. You're basically saying, okay, defense, we've brought it down to this. You can expend yourself. You can go all out on this one play. And so they're almost like you're almost like getting more from the defense at that point than you would.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I guess I'm of the opinion of that. If you're the underdog and you have the chance to go for 2 and win it, you do it.
I like
especially
that.
At home. Because like in theory, I guess my point is that like if you're an underdog, especially like you're 5-5 Auburn, like in theory, you have worse players. And like the longer the players are out there, time eventually will reveal.
If you're gonna,
the team is worse.
If you're gonna leave it up to statistics, at some point they're not gonna go your way.
Right. So it ended up working out though. Crazy game. One of my favorites of the year. Fresno, great game. Beat CSU. UCLA, awesome uniform matchup. Went late into the night. I couldn't believe how late this one started for being 2 big time programs, but still did not get it. Duke went well. UTSA was like, it feels like it was a week ago. Beat the Owls, and then Wisconsin. They let Nebraska get to a bowl game, and
which I actually think is a good thing
for Wisconsin for
this week.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I could. Sure. Yeah, I guess I could get along with that. But I really thought it's very rare that you see someone guarantee victory in a tight game like that and get away with
and
it.
Then they get it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe tip of the cap to Mr. Raiola there. And then Minnesota nearly got the outright upset. That was some incredible stuff. But PJ Fleck, he just, I genuinely think he just wanted to cover by kicking that field goal at the end. I don't understand what he was doing. He did not play to win, but he played to cover, so that was appreciative. And then Mississippi State got absolutely blown out, and that was never even in question. But we went above 500. It was a good weekend, so that was how mine.
We'll take it, Kev.
Yeah,
got absolutely fucking slaughtered. Was on that Indiana game. Looked great to start, and then special teams are important, and Indiana gets kind of exposed there for a little bit. Bama minus 13.5. What the fuck happened there? No idea.
That's the biggest question of the weekend. Wow.
I mean, 2 weeks after they boat raced LSU, they just lay a complete dud. Offense is non-existent. Picks galore. So
they should be 100% out of the playoff, correct?
They should be. But the thing is, everyone else doesn't want to make the playoff either. So, they still have a chance.
They're gonna find a way. They always there's just no way that the committee lets Alabama sit out. I'm gonna be honest.
I mean,
I hate it. But
it's just a bad time to say if only Iowa would have just been 10-2. It would have been a great year to make
10-2 Iowa probably gets in. 11-1 Iowa 1,000,000% gets in.
100% in. 10-2 Iowa, where a lot of people thought, probably not. I think
maybe,
it ended up
maybe a 10-2 Iowa with a closer loss to Ohio State definitely gets in. Like a 1-point loss to Iowa State and a closer loss to Ohio State probably sneaks in.
With how things have shaken out. Yes.
Yeah. Just because no one wants to make the playoff. We expanded to 12 teams and they're like, no, we were good with 4 before. We don't want any part of that. Everyone's deciding to lose here in the last few weeks.
Unbelievable.
I also had UCLA plus 4.5. They lose by 6. They probably should have covered that game. They go for it on their own 34-yard line with like 6 minutes left in the game. It's probably ill-advised. And then I had Penn State, and I just cannot pick the right side of the Minnesota game. 0-5.
Hey.
Doesn't matter if I'm on them or against them.
Hey.
I cannot pick the right side.
And you know what, Kev? I'm going to write this one down. We come back around to it on Thursday. I'm going to say, hey, I know that Minnesota game looks good, right? But we're just going to stay away from it, right? We're just going to stay away.
And that's my worst week of the year, 0-4, and we slide to a very average 26-20.
Yeah. And there's your recap. So, depending on who you tailed this week, who knows? Really, who you should be tailing is Green Tree Care. Shout out to him. Where do we go from here? We can talk Iowa Hawks, Jackson Stratton. The biggest question of the weekend. Could this guy actually be the chosen one? Can he sling it? Is Shaggy going to come in and save the Hawkeyes? Hey, he's no Johnny Manziel, but I ain't saying he didn't do too shabby now. We'll take it. 1-0 as a starter, baby. What are our initial thoughts here, Kev, on the Iowa Hawkeyes at Maryland this past weekend?
Impressive run game yet again. Defense came to play, controlled the ball. Drew Stevens is an amazing kicker. And, really wasn't sure what we were going to get out of our cornerbacks this game or out of our offense this game, but pleasantly surprised, and we'll take it.
Grant, your thoughts?
I was pleased. I enjoyed everything that happened. I was a little disappointed from the Maryland crowd. I was kind of expecting more. I was a little bummed. I love hearing the Let's Go Hawks rain down in away stadiums, but also I don't know. I want the best for Maryland football. Like I want them to we're representing the Big Ten. Like, come on, guys.
Okay.
But I don't know. I was really I was happy with the game. I felt good about it. I think Mr. Stratton is just doing everything he needs right now. Not doing too much, not doing too little. He's playing to win, and I appreciate that from him. His
porridge is just right.
Ooh, well, which bear got the porridge right in that one?
I think it was Baby Bears.
Was it Baby Bears?
I don't know.
I don't remember either. I was trying to think of is that a new potential nickname, but Shaggy's probably better.
Oh no, it's Shaggy and the Scooby-Doo memes until eternity with old Jackson Stratton. Going off your Twitter, Grant, I'd say you're high in the fan club of Jackson Stratton. I mean, it's
look, I'm a fan of pushing propaganda when it comes to my quarterbacks.
Sure,
all right,
why not?
If they're winning, I'll push all the propaganda necessary. And it sounds like Mr. Stratton is going to be our starter against Nebraska, or at least that's what it sounds like. Things could change. This is as of 5:54 Mountain Time on November 24th. But I'm gonna be pumping them up. I'm gonna be firing them up. I'm gonna try and push this lineup to a couple points just by my own tweets if I have to.
I would love that. I like the clarifier there too, Grant, because the quarterback information, at least the drama, the rumors, basically since we recorded our Wednesday night podcast last week, it was all over the place. I'm not even sure where to take us back into the timeline. We obviously sat here on Wednesday night and said, okay, I gave you guys sort of what KF said in the press conference on Tuesday. Supposedly, he misspoke. And I don't remember. I did not end up watching the Wednesday night Hawk Talk from The View. I think he clarified that he might have misspoke. I think I saw that somewhere. Misspoke when he said that Cade was cleared to play. I think the clarification there was that he was cleared to practice on Monday/Tuesday. Cade came out on Thursday-ish or Friday with a statement of his own, which was written on a Word document, by the way. Very weird. Just write it in the notes app like a normal person.
Oh, no, I like the Word document.
You liked the Word document.
Formal. Well, I would have preferred
that. Man, you got to at least make some better fonts and stuff. Like, make it a little more formal.
Wait, what do you want? Wingdings from him? Like what? Yeah. Want like a zodiac letter from the guy?
And actually, Greg, could you pull that Word document?
I wanted them to scan a handwritten note.
That's what I was gonna say. It would be my second option to just penning like a quill and paper.
Oh yeah,
I want them to cut out the letters from a magazine.
Oh yeah, that was always fun back in school. We'll bring it up here. Grant's going to pull that up. But Cade comes out because now there's all this controversy for about 24 hours we do our podcast. We kind of speculate, like, what could this be? Why could Jackson be starting in front of Cade? We gave a couple potential answers, but we definitely didn't have anything solid. None of us knew anything. I wake up the next morning on Thursday and I listen to Doctorman and Leistico, who have closer sources to the program at this point because they have to for reporting purposes. And they start to sort of make it seem like, oh, like this is like maybe a Cade decision, or like Cade might be potentially quitting on the team. They did caveat that with there could be something lingering here on the mental side because of the concussion or physical side. So let's not jump to too many conclusions. But then I start to think, oh no. And this is sort of where everybody started to go. Twitter took off, social media took off. Cade's quitting on the team. Cade's bailing on the Hawks. He's not even on the roster anymore. I said everybody starts to make up their own rumors. He comes out, rights the ship, and says this right here. It has come to my attention that there are individuals in the media circulating rumors about my current status on the Iowa football team. Not us, by the way. Some would think, but not us, not the walk-ons. No. These are ridiculous accusations and 100% false. My status is the same as it's always been, a proud member of this football team. I suffered a concussion versus Northwestern and have been doing everything in my power to get back on the field. I have not, caps, all caps, been cleared to play yet. I was cleared to participate in practice this past Sunday, but had an adverse reaction, which is common for someone coming out of protocol. I have been lifting and attending meetings as much as possible, but have not physically participated in practice Monday through Thursday of this week. Because of this, I am unable to travel and participate this weekend at Maryland. I have been working with the University of Iowa doctors and trainers, a concussion specialist focused on vision training, as well as engaging in hyperbaric treatments as frequent as possible. Gets very specific in this. I have every intention to play versus Nebraska next Friday night, and I am confident that my teammates will return from Maryland with a win. Go Hawks, Cade McNamara. Now, interesting, just weird, right? Now, I think, and we could all speculate, it's his head, it's his concussion, right? But man, like 3 weeks, like it's taken a while for him to get back from this concussion. It must have been much worse than people maybe initially thought. It feels like it's taken a while for this to get back. I don't know what the adverse reaction to practice participation was. I don't know if it was a headache or what.
Sometimes even if you get your heart rate up too high after a concussion, that like without contact, you can almost like reconcuss yourself.
Sure.
But I have because it went Northwestern bye week. I don't know.
Just seems like a lot of time that you'd be probably good.
Yeah.
And I talked with a coach. A coach
weird,
texted me. And this is a coach texted me over the weekend, was like, not a coach of the current team, just a football coach that is respected in college football, or was, and was like, either this kid is soft or this was a much worse concussion than we thought, or something's going on here. Something is weird. And
it's weird because like he didn't come out after the play that he actually got concussed on.
Right. From the moment it's happened, so many things about it have been weird. And again, I'm not going to make this a podcast where we start speculating on, is he quitting on the team? Does he really want to be there? Is he just being soft? Yada, yada. I don't know.
What you don't want is you don't want to turn it to a Tagovailoa and like start having spasms on the field. So
definitely don't want that.
There's one thing that you really just don't fuck with that. Like you don't power through concussion.
No, you don't. And I would never advise him to. So if he's having symptoms, dude, don't play. And to be completely separate from Cade in the quarterbacking discussion, yeah, we're pretty thin. Marco Linus lined up with a goddamn cast on his hand. He looked like Golem in the game the other day.
Does Golem wear a cast in Lord of the Rings?
I was gonna say, I don't think have you seen Lord of the Rings?
You guys are talking about the wrong Golem. Pokemon. I think he was our second option. Guy didn't even have use of one of his hands. Now, granted, it was his left hand, I believe. But, I mean, we're thin. So, but Stratton's doing all right. I think he's doing just as much production-wise as basically Cade gave us. No knock against Cade, but that's just the facts. But then this started circling into, okay, Cade's quit on the team. Now there's rumors that KF's lost the locker room. And then we hear that Jermari Harris isn't making the trip. And from behind the scenes, the rumor is that Jermari had surgery this past week, or is having surgery this week at some point. He's been hurt. And with his injury, in combination with his injury and it being towards the end of the season, in which, and now we're going to get into the discussion of like, hey, how important are games? But Jermari's going to have a little, quite a little off season here, preparing for the NFL draft. Maybe he's made the decision. I really don't know. There was reports that he just decided to opt out purely, and there was no injury. We didn't have Jermari. Grant put out a tweet. Hey, do we know for a fact that Jackson Stratton can't also play cornerback?
Got no evidence that he can't do that as well. Swiss Army knife player.
I've not seen him get beat on a deep ball yet.
He has not missed an assignment at quarterback a single time yet.
They've never targeted him a single time. He's that good.
So that's a great question posed by Grant there. But, that starts to add to it. I don't know the status of that. I don't know if Jermari's hurt. I still don't know. As of Monday, when you guys are listening to this, I have no fucking clue. I think somebody asked about Jermari playing or guys opting out towards the end of the year. This is stuff that we're going to have to deal with here every year from here on out, unless things get drastically brought, the pendulum swings back the other way on all this stuff. And this is Kirk. People tagged us in this because he gave us one of the, oh shit, okay, you shit me. This is one of the best clips we've had of Kirk all year. I don't know what the question was, but this is a little 41 seconds from Kirk.
Reason for optimism, but flip it right around. I mean, Laporta 2 years ago got scoped on. Coincidentally, I just kind of ran into this the other day. November 22nd got scoped, and you couldn't keep him out of the Music City Bowl, a meaningless bowl, right? By the experts, you couldn't keep that guy out of there. And you think it's a coincidence he got drafted by the Lions and went to a Pro Bowl his first year? Jack Campbell, you shitting me? Him missing a game, and you saw Jay Higgins, right? I mean, this guy, you better knock him down and keep him down if you're going to keep him off the field. So that's what you love.
Jack Campbell missing a game? Are you shitting me? Okay.
You shitting me?
Holy shit, you'd have to put a fucking shotgun in that guy's dome and kill him if you wanted to keep him off the field, okay?
Oh, I love that. But yeah,
if you can get an "Are you shitting me" at a KF in a actual press conference, you win.
He's a senior citizen, man. He doesn't care anymore.
Okay, you mentioned that he's a senior citizen. I thought during the game and in this press conference, both. The man looks good.
Oh, I'm just saying chronological age, like he is by definition a senior citizen.
He's to the point where you can no longer give a shit.
But yes, he is in excellent health.
The other day during the game, I don't know if it was the lighting in that stadium at Maryland or what, but I'm watching the game. I'm listening to Dolph and Pat because we're in the car. And I look and I go, Lauren, doesn't KF look young? Doesn't he? He looks young. And she's like, yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I don't know if it's the lighting on his hair or what. I was like, I don't know. Fountain of youth. Are you shitting me? Okay.
69 years young.
All right. It's because I lift weights. Okay. You think Kirk Ferentz, the head coach of the Iowa Hawkeyes, isn't going to be working out 5 days a week? Okay. You got to be shitting me. Fucking Jack Campbell, governor of the United States, governor of Iowa, president of the United States someday? Holy shit. You think that guy doesn't love America? You think he had Army plus 14? Holy shit. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think KF has lost the locker room. That's just, yeah. I'm biased. It would be very hard for that man to lose a locker room.
And I think like kind of the point he's trying to get across here is like the core guys like who have been the leaders of this program for the last handful of years are very bought in, love playing football, love playing for their teammates and with their teammates. And that's what makes a strong locker room. Right? You're always going to have guys on the outskirts to be like, you know what? ain't for me anymore. Like I'm just gonna sit out the rest of the year, and it's like this is what's best for me. But when you have a strong core group, that's when you have a strong locker room, and you can. There's 120 guys on the team, right? There's always going to be guys on the periphery, but it's pretty evident, and like he said, like with Higgins, with the guys like Nick Jackson, you got a strong core in there, like that is holding the guys together that want to really win 2 more games this year.
If I had to guess on the Jamari situation, and that's probably stupid to do, right? Don't do that. Don't just guess, but I'm going to do it. I would guess there is something injury related, and maybe he hasn't come out and said anything, or the coaches haven't said anything, because he is in a weird time where he doesn't really want to flaunt or promote injuries or reasons why he wouldn't be able to play as he tries to go into the NFL draft. I would guess that maybe something's going on. He has to get something cleaned up. It could be as simple as a knee scope, and he's decided at this point this is the time to do it, because he is going to have he's got to train. He's got to work on things that are going to happen in the combine, the draft, all this stuff. And when we played a clip from him about a month ago, Kev, him talking about KF as a father figure and all that, the way he came across, I would love to hear the situation, because listening to him the first time on that one clip, I felt like nobody was more committed to the team than Jamari Harris. So if you guys out there are thinking Jamari quit, or you're hearing rumor, like, I would really hold your tongue on that one, because I think that guy's pretty damn bought in as a 6th-year senior Iowa Hawkeye. Who knows? But yeah, my thoughts on the game in general. I actually ended up tweeting sometime during that Thursday, Hawks by three scores plus. I just got this rush. I think it was during a workout, a rush of positivity and confidence in the Hawkeyes. They don't get there. Technically, 16 points is 2 scores, 2 possessions. But we were 1 point away from 3 scores. And we really controlled this game in the first half. There was one drive in the second half where we were like, ooh, what are we gonna try and make this interesting? But then the defense stepped up. We got I think we got 2 picks in a row and back-to-back possessions after that shaky drive. That Ty Felton, he's a great receiver. I think he's a league talent.
Stud,
right?
Yeah.
And I actually think that the 2 touchdowns that he scored on us were, you can't call them outliers, but they sort of were. Sebastian Castro on the first one hits Xavier Wampa. He literally knocks Xavier Wampa.
Yeah, I'm not.
I don't know what Castro's doing, but Wampa is on him.
Fucking chill, man.
Like, what are we
I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to jam the receiver, like, and help him out. But he's like, reminded me of Miles Taylor. Like, Miles Taylor would get like all like jacked up and like just try to go hit somebody, And it's like
you saw what I'm talking about,
I
right,
need
Kev?
to chase a car. And he's like, gotta go. Sometimes you just got
like
chill. Let the come to you every now and then.
Castro came down and basically picked, like, friendly fire picked off Wampa, and that left Ty Felton wide open in the corner for that first one. So I think if he doesn't do that, I think Wampa's on the guy. I think we cover that.
I mean, he was well covered at that point, yeah.
On the
he
second,
would have had to make a contested catch.
Sure.
Contested catch.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been wide open like it was. And then on the second one, I think Nick Jackson had come out, and we had a little bit of confusion. We did not have a single guy on him. We did not cover the man. It wasn't that like he beat us. It was that we beat ourselves. It was, and I understand that still they don't care. Maryland doesn't care if we beat ourselves. They're actually hoping we do that. Nonetheless, I don't think we were just like totally outgunned there. That wasn't like a Ohio State better talent situation. The kid is a great talent, but I think we were covering him pretty well. The touchdowns and the points still count. Regardless, we come away 29-13. Unbelievable day from Caleb Johnson again, 150-plus yards. Most carries I think he's had all season. Ran him probably a little more than we would have liked. 35 carries is a lot. You don't that beats a guy up.
Didn't he have a quote after the game saying like he was like, I could play right now again.
I know people say that, dude, but when Caleb Johnson woke up today, his fucking body hurt. He was hurt.
Again, I'm gonna feed the propaganda that he's gotten even stronger from this game.
35 carries. You know what? Another 5, I'd actually feel better. Give me 45.
Need a cool down. 5 carries.
Kamari Moulton, huge game, best game of his year. Breaks off like a 60 or 70 yard touchdown run. Beautifully blocked play on one of the plays where he was kind of giving KJ a break.
So I was listening, so I didn't see, but that fumble on the first drive, whose fault was that?
It was his.
It was his.
Yeah, Stratton stuck that right in the gut. It was, they replayed it and had a great shot of it, and that was another thing. Lauren looked over and was like, "Whose fault was that his fault?" And I was like, "Yeah, I think that's Moulton's fault." And then,
appreciate the redemption though. That was cool.
Well, and you know what I love is they just put him right back in the ball game.
Yeah.
Right. I think a lot of times Lauren leaned over and was like, "Do you take him out after that?" And I was like, "Well,
he's got to go sit on the bench for a while anyway." So
yeah, I was like, in my opinion, 1 is sort of like you made a mistake. 2 is now maybe a pattern. You take him out after 2 for sure. But after 1, I say, hey, you're good. It happens. You're a Division I running back. We know you can get the job done. Keep that kid's confidence high and let him go eat a little bit. And that's what they did. And they ran Patterson a lot. He got 8. I think Patterson got 5 or 6 carries. He had some hard runs for some hard yardage. Didn't really do a whole lot. Moulton and KJ really did the bulk of it. But, I mean, what do we have here? 273 rushing yards. We're averaging 4.8 a carry.
Dude, it's just
leading the Big Ten.
If we had this running game last year,
Ooh,
it would have been beautiful. Like the 37 minutes time possession. What, KF? You shitting me?
You shitting me, okay? That's called that's controlling the ball, all right?
Loving what we're getting out of this run game this year. I mean, there's been a couple games where we haven't been able to establish it as much, but this is just beautiful Iowa football. Being able to run the game, run the time possession, control the ball, keep the defense off the field, defense playing good when they're on the field. It's like it makes winning so much easier when you can do those things.
Yeah. Yeah, I think time of possession is such a when you look at that stat, man, it tells a lot.
Winning turnovers too.
At one point, Kev, I think in the first half, I think time of possession was like 18 minutes to 3 minutes.
Yeah. They can't score.
If you don't have the ball, you can't score.
Checks out.
So 273 yards rushing. Again, only 76 through the air. Although, Grant, you watched a game I saw on Twitter that had 0 yards through the air, and that team won a ball game too this weekend.
Yeah, tip of the cap, Air Force Falcons. Great win with no passing yards. Shout out our loyal friend, Mr. Dr. Painter. So I think he was up watching the game.
Yes. And how late was that game?
Mountain time. I think it was it's maybe around 10:45, 11 maybe. I don't know.
When it started?
No, when it was over.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
How late were you up Saturday night? Last
night? Not super late. I don't think anything regular. A little shortly after the UCLA and USC ended.
So 1 a.m.
Yeah, something around there probably is accurate. Yeah.
Okay. All right. You and I have different standards.
Why
we just have different clarifications of what's late.
This upcoming weekend is the last regular season of football. We have to soak all of it in. It's over soon.
I know. 0 passing yards. Now, do we think it's a bit of maybe the most ironic that they are the Air Force and they have 0 passing yards through the air?
Yeah, I got someone was commenting. Someone tweeted at me today. Usually aren't they a fan of the air attack? And I was like, well, that would check out, yes. But hey, I mean, I don't know. Winning's winning. I don't know. I think people are going to look back. There's probably a lot of seniors on that team, and they're not going to think if only we just ran a couple routes, got some passing yards. They're going to be like, we beat Nevada. And I don't know if it was their last home game or not. I don't remember where it was, to be totally honest. But hey, the seniors will appreciate the win. All right,
I thought it was a good.
I don't think they're worried about passing yards.
No,
I am surprised that the service academies they always ran the option because they can't have that big of linemen because the guys got to be fucking
they got to be able to run
Air Force and run miles at a time. But why they could do an air raid offense too if they wanted to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, outside of this weekend, Army was kind of slinging it at times there.
Well, and it's unfortunate that that Army had to go down like they did this weekend.
Hey, season's still alive though. They're in they clinched the American Conference Championship last week. The way the Big 12 is handling themselves right now, it's not impossible that them or Tulane could find themselves in a playoff game.
And I would love nothing more. I would
Who
love
are
nothing
Tulane's
more.
losses to?
Kansas State was one of them because I remember they blew a gigantic lead just to make me upset, and then I can't remember the other
Just to
one.
make me upset.
Oklahoma.
Yeah,
Which do we want to talk
that
about
makes sense.
Oklahoma quick?
What the fuck?
How does Alabama? I mean, Oklahoma has been dog water all year long,
they're not very good. No,
and they just went and handled, like, absolutely dominated Alabama.
I just think Alabama didn't show up.
It just confuses me how you don't show up. I don't understand.
It's not a Nick Saban coach team anymore.
Well, that's true.
Like,
In my mind, if that's nail in the coffin on Alabama's hopes for a playoff. 3 losses, and 2 of them are to Vandy and Oklahoma. Bad teams.
it seems like Nick Saban was worth whatever they were paying him. But yeah, if you have told an Alabama fan last year that there's going to be 12 teams in the playoff, well, obviously everyone knew that last year, but Alabama's not going to be one of them. They would.
You gave them odds on Alabama to make
not
it.
being
They
in
would
the
have put
playoff.
that. They would have put their mortgages on it. They would put the house on it.
yeah.
Unbelievable.
Disappointing.
What'd you say? Disappointing?
I was kind of expecting them to handle their business, but
Oh,
they were, as was probably Kevin, who had minus
Mhm.
13. Like, I don't know.
But I mean, they weren't the only ones. I mean, Ole Miss, like all they had to do is beat a 5-5 Florida team and then walk over a dog shit Mississippi State next week, and they're in the playoff. They're on the outside looking in now.
Gosh, I was really looking forward to
BYU is like, I think they still are going to be in the Big 12 championship if they
Have a
win
chance.
this week.
Oh, do you guys want to talk Big 12 scenarios? Because we got 8 teams eligible right now. for
Yeah,
the
I
Big
mean,
12
like, does
championship
anyone
still.
want to win the Big 12? Doesn't
No.
seem like it.
no, they don't.
There's still a
Um,
scenario where West Virginia
most-
gets to the playoff.
I believe
very
I
excited
read a
about
little article on it because I was curious on Iowa
Are you
State.
telling me, wait, West Virginia can win the Big 12 still?
I think they can technically win the title. And like if they won every game and everything worked out their way, I think they could technically win the national championship with under double-digit wins.
Well, no, they wouldn't. West Virginia is 6-5.
Oh, okay.
They don't
it would be
get in the playoff.
They'd have to somehow be ranked and get in, but they wouldn't. I
well,
believe
yeah, they're shoot. Hold on. I didn't.
I
think about
believe
the-
Iowa State and Arizona State are the 2 most likely at this point. BYU and Colorado right behind them, and however none of them play each other to end the season, so they all play. I think
So Arizona State has the head-to-head over BYU, obviously. Have any of those other teams played each other?
no,
Colorado
So
has
what-
not played Iowa State or BYU.
no, and
to
so
my knowledge.
it-
Or Arizona State.
I'm not going to try and run through it. All I know is the most likely scenarios are like Arizona State and Iowa State. BYU gets in there. Colorado, I think, is the least likely of the 4 now, but they all play a team that isn't each other to end the game. So they're counting on each other to win or lose. There's
But,
3-way.
what are the parameters for like tiebreakers?
Yeah,
Obviously head-to-heads up there, but
Big 12.
besides Arizona State and BYU, none of them have played each other, which
I got it. Hold
is
on.
shame on
So-
Big 12 schedulers. Like,
Yeah. So here are the steps, and this is
So
not
this
how
is-
I would have done it.
If they all tie, this is it.
holy shit.
So step 1 is head-to-head. Step 1 is head-to-head. That's
Right.
the first one. The second tiebreaker is the win percentage against all common conference opponents between the tied teams. So then you have to go look at their schedules and who they played in common opponents and what their win percentage is against them. If that doesn't do it, then it goes to win percentage against the next highest placed common opponent in the standings based on the record in all games played within the conference in proceeding through the standings. If that doesn't do it, it goes to combined win percentage in conference games of conference opponents or the strength of conference schedule. The 5th one is total number of wins, just like your total record. The 6th, there's a tiebreaker where it's just the highest ranking based on Sports Source Analytics. And then Seventh tiebreaker
They're
is
outsourcing to Sports Source Analytics.
correct.
Not the CFP rankings, not
and
the AP poll, not
And
the
if somehow that wouldn't do it,
computers that the BCS poll used to run on.
if somehow the Sports Source Analytics had those two teams still tied somehow, it would come down to a coin toss.
Wow.
Could you imagine a coin toss?
I want a coin toss so bad. That
It
would be awesome.
amazing.
Could be like the Ivy League though. I believe the Ivy League has
Can you
3
imagine,
champions
though?
this year because there's no tiebreakers.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, like, you get to like one of those tiebreakers further down the list, and then like say BYU gets left out because they beat Cincinnati, who in the last week of the season lost to whatever.
Yep.
Like,
You-
and
you
that
ba-
changes their winning percentage, their opponent's winning percentage, and so that's how they get. Like, I would be so pissed off. If
Yeah.
That's how I got left out of.
Yeah, there is a scenario in some world where a team would not get in because the last week of the year, the majority of the opponents that they played just all had a bad week to end the season, and that's why they didn't get. Like, that would just be trash.
So did whoever did this write up? Did they? So it's like Arizona State and Iowa State are most likely.
Yes. So, if all of them win or all of them lose, I believe it's Iowa State and Arizona State.
So BYU's got Houston. They might have the easiest game. Iowa State's got Kansas State. They might have the toughest
I
game.
think Iowa State has the toughest game.
Colorado has Oklahoma State, so they actually might have the easiest game. Arizona State has Arizona.
I mean, dude, Oklahoma State and
So
Houston.
is that why, if I'm guessing, because Iowa State plays Kansas State, who has a good record, if they get a win versus them, that boosts them up in the other tie-breaking rankings?
Well, that's my
So they're
guess.
going to have the hardest win, but if they get the win, they're the most likely to get it.
They're rewarded for it, basically. Yeah. So you're sitting here for other people that it's relevant to. Iowa State, after losing 2 in a row and everything looked doom and gloom, now because BYU and Colorado decided to lose, they're right back in it. And if they go and then win that thing, I think they just got, this is the AP, but I think in the AP they were just ranked 17th this afternoon. So
they would have to get above Army or Tulane to get in.
yes, it'd have to be they're not going
to pass Boise.
Boise's going to be one of those top 4 seeds. It just is.
I don't know. They've been struggling lately. They have not looked good.
I guess they got what, Oregon State?
Dude,
GT has like 10 injuries right now, and without him, they are just not good.
And they play a conference championship game, correct?
They do. UNLV probably, I think.
Okay, so let's assume they win. Then it's going to be the Big Ten champion, the ACC champion, the SEC champion, and Boise State. And then the Big 12 champion is going to be your 5th seed, or
They'll be 12.
They're going to be the 12 seed because they'll have 2 or 3 losses. And
congratulations, you get to play Ohio State.
That's tough.
Well, maybe depending on.
Ohio State. Actually, if you
could be Oregon.
It's just a weird scenario. Anyway, the Big 12 is completely fucked. Let's roll it back around here to this. This is from Courtney. Question from Courtney in the Patreon. One of our Courtney's probably like top 10, top 5 of all washed up walk-ons.
Are we ranking fans?
If we are, Courtney's up there.
Should we do a top? We haven't done a top 5 in a while. Top 5 fans.
Top 5. Courtney's an OG, been with us a long time, very active in the Discord, patreon.com/washupwalkons if you want in on that. She sent us this question last week, and then I forgot to bring it up on the Thursday episode, and then I got called out for dodging the hard questions as a joke. She goes, I'm curious your guys' take on the difference between leadership and brotherhood on the team, if there is one. This year or in years past, maybe when you guys were on the team, it seems like usually they have strong leadership, but some years they are more of a tight-knit group, like last year, and she references Leo Fee, which for anyone that's new this year means love each other, fuck everybody else. Seemed like they were 100% playing for each other every snap last year. And the year Jack stood in the post-game press conference and said, there's no way I'm going to stand up here and talk bad about the offense, yada, yada. But this year, they obviously have the strong senior leadership, but they don't seem to have some of that same togetherness or brotherhood. This is just her opinion. She's sort of speculating. Or maybe that, and she caveats that at the end with, or maybe that's just totally made up figment of my imagination. So she sort of at the beginning of the question there designates it difference. But is there a difference between leadership and brotherhood, or can there be varying levels of both, or do they go hand in hand? What are your thoughts on that, Kevin?
I mean, they're correlated, but they're different things for sure, right? Like if you don't have strong leadership, it's going to be tough to have a very cohesive and together locker room. But you can also have strong leadership and just not I guess like the second thing, brotherhood. It's like what percent of buy-in do you have? I would be like an objective way of stating that, right?
Yeah.
And obviously they're correlated, but they're not directly connected.
Yeah, the way I view it is
like you can't have a strong locker room without strong leadership, but you can
still have a brotherhood.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So here's my personal thing. I think there's maybe some semantics here that maybe they don't matter. I do think it's an interesting sort of posed question. I think you can have brotherhood as a wider term in a lot of different areas. Like there's a lot of places that like describe themselves as the brother. I think there's, this is going to go way off. I think the Nazis probably considered themselves a brotherhood. Like,
similar. Duke basketball always says they're the brotherhood.
Oh, like I think of when I think of like brotherhood, for some reason, like biker gang comes to mind, or like
the Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah, or something like it's the brotherhood, man. My assessment of that is that you could have a brotherhood, and maybe the morals or the ideas or the disciplines of that group of people, they might not be good. Like it's a brotherhood. They're all connected. They're all connecting on the same values or same things that they enjoy or the same experiences that they're going through. But it might not mean that things are good. It might not be a positive thing. I think when you factor in leadership as a variable there, leadership, especially in this sense of a Division I football program or just a sports program, starts to steer that brotherhood in the right direction, right? Or help them along, guide them. There's a lot of teams, and I can think of the 2014 team specifically that we were on, Kev, where, we had a good brotherhood. We went through bonded experiences, off-season training program. There's a lot of good friends on that team. Of course, right? You have 100 guys. There's always that. I don't know if we had the best leadership that year, compared to some of our other years, for sure. Or for some reason, the leadership didn't get through as much. And so I think they're definitely different in a way.
Honestly, maybe I'd argue like in a different way. It's like, I think we had strong leaders on that team. You think about Mark Wiseman.
Mark comes to mind,
but how much buy-in did you have in like when you have key contributors who are like causing trouble, not being late, not showing up to practices, lifts, etc. Like that means like the buy-in on the periphery is not where it needs to be, right? Like you still have, like every Iowa team I've been a part of had a core group of like 4 or 5 senior guys or upperclassmen or whatever, like really strong leaders, right? It's just has everyone else bought in on the message?
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, I know. It's a weird. I don't know if there's a real an easy answer to it. And to be honest, specifically speculating from the outside, it is tough, Courtney, because I don't know what that locker room looks like or sounds like on a daily basis.
It's almost impossible to get a feel. Like you can maybe try to get a feel, but it's very hard to like really understand like what the environment's like in that locker room. And I think it was easier to see in the last couple years, like when the offense was really struggling and you had guys like say, "Hey, no, the offense, those are our teammates too. We're sticking up for those guys. We love them, etc." I don't think anyone's really had to defend anybody in the press this year. So it's
Sure.
like it's not as obvious, right?
Doesn't come out in their public statements as much.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm sure if asked the question again, like Jay Higgins would give the exact same answer.
Yeah. And yeah, I think it is a good assumption that this team definitely does have great leadership. I mean, you've got 6-year seniors all over the place. It would be I would be shocked if those guys weren't leading. And I know they are because you listen to Coach Parker or Coach Wallace. I mean, you've heard the coaches don't bullshit on that. They've talked about the leadership of that team or those players. So yeah, I don't know. I think maybe that, and Courtney can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think maybe that question comes from we're sort of on the outside searching for some answer still on the reason that this team was inconsistent a little bit this year. And I don't think that inconsistency necessarily 100% correlates with the lack of leadership or brotherhood either. It's that's a really tough. It's a tough topic. I mean, teams lose, right? Like it's just a reality of things. Sometimes things don't go your way. Other teams are trying to win too. And 4 losses is tough, but I don't think it's because of a lack of leadership. A lot of things didn't bounce our way too. Like we talked about the quarterback stuff. I mean, we're just handled some adversity this year. So, good question though. Appreciate the questions. Always creates great discussion. That's about all I got for tonight. You guys got any other words of wisdom? Hawks, big win today, 30 points.
Yeah.
Against Washington State, undefeated. Probably we'll see our first ranked 2024-2025 Iowa women's team tomorrow in the AP poll. 6-0, I believe.
I'd be really surprised if they weren't.
Yeah, I mean it's been surprising when they weren't the last 2 weeks, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I think
also
we'll see that.
Max Llewellyn, another sick game. Just gonna point that out.
The guy's had himself a little bit of a year.
Yeah, we bought in early.
Grant's had the stock, right?
We got it early.
Grant got it for pennies.
Holding.
With diamond hands. We're holding. All right.
And it's up there like Bitcoin right now, baby. High.
What I mean, he's got that spin move down to a science.
Oh, and he hits the hands away and just
Yeah.
It's good.
Looks like a Von Miller.
Boy can rush a little bit.
Broncos. Yeah. No, seriously though, great job from him. I was just happy with everything this weekend.
It's good to get a win. It's good
just
to
sitting there watching. I was like, I'm just proud of these guys. You know,
Yeah.
I'm just fired up for the fellas.
It feels good to win, and we've got one. We've got a big one coming up. I was just down there this weekend in Nebraska again. Attended a large volleyball matchup this past weekend.
But
the cities they were high on their own supply.
But the football,
they're feeling good.
Well, I mean, I was like, I mean, they've been to a bowl. I'm assuming this is in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Oh, and I'll finish with that actually.
Referring to?
Yeah, because in the early part of the episode, I said I think it was good that Wisconsin let them gain bowl eligibility for this week, and what I mean by that is, and I don't know how much of this really would have played a factor, but I don't think you would choose to play a team that's fighting for their bowl eligibility in the last game of the year for the first time in 8 years. Like I don't think you want to sign up for that to play against that motivation.
Was it like between that or like an undefeated team?
I would say no. It's just the scenario we have now. It's like, okay, now we get a Husker team that's 6-5.
It's like, would you rather be playing a 6-5 team or a 5-6 team?
Yes.
All other things equal. Yeah, you'd probably rather.
Yeah, you probably want the 6-5 team because now maybe there's a chance they kind of like, oh, we got bowl eligibility. You know, we'll go and give it a good shot in Iowa City, but we made our bowl game. Like, who knows?
Yeah.
How'd you guys feel about
instead of Raiola going, I guarantee we get bowl eligibility next week against the Hawkeyes, and they just come in Spitfire. Like, yeah, I'll take.
There's a different player who said something similar in a post game interview on the field. But how did you guys feel about the field storming?
Embarrassing, but what was that? Their first bowl game
since 2016.
That's incredible.
It's unbelievable.
That's incredible.
You and I still had a year of eligibility left.
You know what happened in 2016 too? Is we fucking dog walked them.
Yeah, we did.
That was an awesome game.
Yeah, it was. That was a good game. All right.
We dog walked him the next year too.
We dog walked him several times, and it was a good time.
Yeah.
Hopefully the boys can dog walk him this week. We got one regular season game left. Appreciate you guys being with us all season long and beyond. You guys will hear this on Monday. The entire lineup of walk-on programming all week long. Appreciate you guys being there as well. Talk to you then.